Good evening. Welcome to Daily Record Hotline Live. Sorry we're late and stop being grumpy. I see a few of the comments coming in already. Once again, Henrik, our Swedish producer, has had a bit of an issue there, hasn't he? He's had technical. He's having a nightmare this week, as old Henrik. Might need to swap him out. I'm joined tonight, as you can see, by Mick Gannon and very special guest appearance from Tam McManus. Guys, how are we?
Good.
I'm good, thanks. I'm glad to see Tam. A bit like Steve, he's been hiding from me all summer on the golf course, been running away from me. Scared of the challenge. So I'm glad to see Tam showing face here.
Oh, just let me know when you want to play, Mick.
Well, I said, we're running out of time. We need to get it on, don't we?
Aye.
Yeah, we went our greens in no time, boys. Mick, talk us through your day-to-day. You were down in Ayrshire, weren't you? And I think it's just the story's just about going up online just now. Really interesting interview with Stiliyan Petrov.
Aye, we're down there. You know how these things work. It was the Ladbrokes Year Gold Cup kind of draw. And Stiliyan was there to do the draw along with Alan Hutton. So we're talking to Stan, which is always good. Always interesting. Listen, we're just asking about the carry on around Celtic. I mean, obviously it's been a bit of a crazy kind of few weeks and months, hasn't it? But it was good. We're asking about Brendan Rodgers. Obviously his press conference last week, still the shockwaves are still kind of being felt. The Rodgers press conference, asked about the fact that Rodgers did say that he would actually love to stay if the kind of club matches vision. He's just saying it's a no-brainer. The board should really take those words to heart and back him, because they're not going to get a better manager than Brendan Rodgers. So it seems daft not to back his vision for the future. I know it maybe makes him a bit nervous, flashing the cash and all that stuff, but what's the point of having a manager like Rodgers and not giving him the kind of backing? So it was quite interesting on that. It's also good talking about where do they go from here? Because listen, Celtic are still, the fans are kind of raging and there's protests and that's not going away anytime soon. But they do need to get on with things, don't they? And he was talking about, remember the UEFA Cup run back in the day? They get passed out the Champions League at Basel. And he
I was there that night.
He said he was in the dressing room and he said he was young and naive and he said, like guys, more go and win the UEFA Cup. And he was being kind of serious, but the guys were going, aye, shut up, Stiliyan. But it turns out they got to the final and they were a whisker away from actually winning the thing. So he's not saying they can go and do that this year, but at least go and give a go at it and see how far they can get. So he's just trying to kind of like pick through the debris the last few weeks and see what's how they go from here, because they need to get motoring again, don't they? Really?
Do you feel, guys, that the situation around Celtic obviously kind of reached a crescendo, even though it was a bit of a damp squib in the end at Kilmarnock with the protests and all that? Do you feel it's just starting to settle down again and fade away the noise, or is this just a lull? And as soon as the accounts come back out, it's crash bang wallop?
Yeah, listen, I think that as long as Celtic are winning games, Keith, then the noise will dissipate. I think you just need to keep winning. Rangers are obviously struggling at the minute, which helps, but Celtic need to keep winning games. I thought they were fortunate to get the penalty at the weekend. Obviously you've been speaking about it all week. I think if you're in the Kilmarnock camp, you're absolutely beeling about that penalty getting given against you. But we know the handball rules are ambiguous at the minute. 1 week you can get it, 1 week you don't get it. So there's going to be, guys raging from week to week and people getting decisions that they shouldn't and people getting decisions that they should. So that's just a handball rule at the minute. But in terms of Celtic, we just need to keep winning games. The protest was a bit of a damp squib, let's be honest. I don't think it made a blind bit of difference to the board at Celtic. And the only thing that will keep the fans on side is by winning games every week. And with Rangers struggling, just try to keep hearts at bay at the minute.
Do you not think this is different this time, Tam? I know that we've been here before with Celtic and the supporters and kind of rifts and schisms and all that. It does feel a bit different this time in terms of the intensity. I think you're right. I think there'll be a percentage of the Celtic support who'll just settle back down. The games keep coming. Celtic can get themselves into a semi-final, they're sitting joint top with Hearts in the league. So I think there's an element of the Celtic support that will just get back to normal business. But I think, Michael, you've said to me previously, there's another kind of element to this which doesn't feel as if results on the pitch will just make everything go away.
I just think I think you're going to get another outcry when they announce the financial figures in the next, any minute now. That's going to cause an outcry because it could be 80 million plus in the bank, and that's going to drive folk nuts again. So that's going to flare it up again, right? Anytime there's a bump in the road, if they lose in Belgrade next week because the signings weren't good enough or done early enough, If they lose domestically at any point in time, which I think they're going to lose games domestically. I think the squad is imbalanced. I think there's gaps in it. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as they were last year or the year before. So every time they hit a bump in the road, it's going to be because of this window. You've also got the manager situation. And I mean, listen, you've got a manager who's getting briefed against by club insiders and all that stuff. That's got to have some sort of conclusion, whatever it is. His future is going to be in the cloud over the club the whole season. Well, even winning games, say they win a treble and then Rodgers walks away. He's walking away. The club haven't matched his vision, which he said to them, match my vision and I want to stay. So they could lose their most successful manager since Jock Stein because of their lack of matching his vision. So it's never going to go. I think it's going to just rumble on all season. Every bump in the road, even when they do well, they're going to say, well, that guy, look at the last weekend. Chinecti, his man of the match in his debut, played really well. The first thing Rodgers says is, I wish I had him a fortnight ago. So everything's just hanging over them. I think there's a recipe for disaster, I think, this season. It could really go, it could be constantly just aggro all year.
But yeah. They'll get away with that now because they're winning. I think it totally turns the other way if Celtic start to lose games. You're right. I think they'll start to turn, severely in the wrong direction if Celtic start losing games and Rangers get their act together. I think they're quite happy. The board are like, okay, it's fine just now. We're top of the league. Rangers are struggling. It's all everything's good. But as you said, if Rangers pick up a couple results, Celtic maybe lose a game, drop 4 points out of 6. And Rangers start getting close again, I think the noise will increase again. But at the minute, I think they'll get away with it.
I think that that last minute goal at Kilmarnock, don't score that goal, hell to pay at the end of that game. I mean, they've still got to play the likes of the Hearts and Hibs and stuff like that. They've, I think there's bumps ahead of them because I don't think the squad looks particularly great at the moment.
I think, Mick, you're right. I think by saying that when the numbers are released, and that could be any day. Any day now, really, couldn't it?
It'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, probably, they put them out. So
which is ridiculous because they're accounts that any club in British football would probably be delighted to announce, the profits, the size of the bank account, the amount of money sitting, gathering interest. Any club would be thrilled with that, but this is going to be a problem for Celtic, and I think it will reignite some residual anger from the transfer window.
Oh, absolutely. Usually, if you've got a 90 million quid in the bank, a big megaphone shouting out, but Celtic will be whispering in a tramp's ear. We're minted.
Right. Well, anyway, Celtic next up, Partick Thistle on Sunday afternoon for a place in the semi-finals. I don't see any problem there, even if there is a bit of unrest. And I think, Tam, to feed into your sort of argument, win that game, that's you in a semi-final. Charge on with the league, hope to get a bit of traction in the Europa League and maybe Celtic do get through this and Brendan Rodgers gets to build the momentum that he has done in all these previous seasons. Yeah,
and that's what Celtic will be looking to do. That's what the board will be looking to do, the manager, the players. They'll just be looking to motor on, do what Celtic do. You always felt, at the game on Sunday when Kilmarnock equalised, you're thinking there's still time for Celtic to get a winner. That's just the way Celtic operate. That's the way they've operated for a number of years. Even in your opposing team, when I was playing against Celtic and Rangers at the time, if it was one each with maybe 5-10 minutes to go, you thought they'll still get a winner here. And I think they've got that. Celtic have got that confidence. I know they were a wee bit fortunate at the weekend, but you weren't surprised that they went up the park and scored the winning goal. So
that's what they do.
They'll just look to get through, beat Partick Thistle, and charge on the league. But I just don't think the noise is going to go away until Brendan comes out one way or the other and says he's going to be staying or he's going to be leaving. When does that statement come out from him? When does he say he's leaving the club or he's staying at the club? I think that's an interesting one for me. Does he do it mid-season? Does he do it in the last game of the season? Because me personally, Keith, I don't think he'll beat Celtic next year. I don't think there's any chance he'll beat Celtic next year. But when does he get sick of the questions of are you staying? Are you going to your scores? Listen, I'm going to be leaving at the end of the season. I think
you might have nailed it, Tam. I think it's his aim will be to go out with a domestic treble and basically do a mic drop in the last day. Yeah. I would imagine, unless there are talks and unless he's given the satisfaction that he's asked for in terms of whoever it was that leaked against them, is forcibly removed, Oxford out the front door. And to be honest with you, Mick and I have spoken about this. It does feel, looking at it from the outside, might be wrong, but it feels very much as if he's thrown that gauntlet down at Peter Lawwell. And it just feels to me as if the two of them aren't going to coexist. Maybe in the short term, just to get to the end of this season, but I don't think in the longer term. I think there would need to be a decision made by Dermot Desmond in order to bring everybody back together and to give Brendan Rodgers the authority and the platform that I feel he would want if he was going to commit in the longer term. Tam, listen, I have vetted this, so don't get caught by alarm. I remember I met Tam McManus. This is CTV. I remember I met Tam McManus up the Savoy shortly after he scored that wonder goal v Rangers for Hibs. He was there himself, but went with me and my mate to the casino. There you are.
Well, I must have got unlucky in the Savoy, which is incredible, because that was the last place you went. You went to the Cube, you went to Vicky's, and then if you were still out of luck, you went to Savoy, and then it was usually a fish supper. So I don't know who CTV is, but I don't think it was a female.
By the way,
tell me, I'm getting up the Savoy. Oh no, where's this going?
Exactly. That's why I did say I vetted it, Mick.
I've probably seen Keith up there.
No. You probably bumped into Scott McDermott, don't you? Right. Listen, we'll come back to Celtic. I just wanted to talk. Our back page last night, we revealed it on the show last night. Rangers confirming that they have a number of managers who have made contact, sent in CVs, got their agents to approach them in terms of, putting their hands up to be a replacement for Russell Martin. But the official party line from Rangers is that they haven't initiated and are not seeking to get involved in discussions with these guys. Is it just me, or is that absolutely mental? Given that they may be looking for a new manager by, Saturday evening, why would you not want to talk? Why are you not engaging in these discussions? Or is it the right thing to do, Tam? Because you're frightened of hurting Russell Martin's feelings?
Keith, I don't believe that for a minute. I don't believe that for a minute. I think Rangers will be speaking to people. They've got to be speaking to people. Sean Dyche has been mentioned. Steven Gerrard's been mentioned. Guys that are out of contract who I think would jump at the opportunity to come into Rangers. So, listen, you've got to do your due diligence in terms of, doing your job. As you're right. If they get beat at the weekend, if Hibs beat Turnover Rangers, there's no way back for Russell Martin. So, I'm sure there'll be talks on the quiet with agents. Would you be interested in coming? What kind of money you're looking for? This is the squad, blah blah blah. And the one that's really on everyone's lips, Rangers fans' lips, is Steven Gerrard, and I can see him coming back in. To be honest, I just think I think the emotional pull of coming back to Rangers for him, and he left because he wasn't backed. I think his famous quote. He wasn't backed at Rangers, and he left the club. And I think with the level of finance and the muscle that Rangers have got now, I think that would attract Steven Gerrard back, to be honest.
I'll throw a span on that Steven Gerrard works. I'm not sure that Kevin Thelwell would want a character the size of Steven Gerrard going into that position. I think that Kevin Thelwell is looking for somebody that he has authority over. I think that he is the guy who wants to make the decisions in the transfer market in terms of recruitment. I'm just not sure that would be a fit. I think in order for a Steven Gerrard to go back in there, I'm not sure that Kevin Thelwell would be there as a sporting director. Certainly, I don't think he would approve it. Do you not think that would be a problem in that setup, Tom?
Yeah. No, listen, I think when you look at it, obviously it's a different setup. I think that obviously Ross Wilson was there when Steven Gerrard was there, but I think, you look at the signings that Rangers have made. Shermeti, for example, from Everton, that is a Thelwell signing. There's no doubt about that. He's brought him in.
And it fails the smell test, doesn't it?
Yeah. And listen, I do think that Steven Gerrard is a big character and he would want full autonomy on transfers. So maybe you're got a point there. But I think they will be speaking to guys like that. Sean Dyche, they've got to be speaking to people to come in. And listen, I think they'll get another opportunity. Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell to maybe bring another manager in, but I think if they get the next one wrong as well, I think they'll be joining them out the door.
Michael, your thoughts on, I mean, Tam's thrown another name in there, which is doing the rounds, the Sean Dyche suggestion. Yeah. What mental gymnastics need to get performed for you to say, just a couple of months ago, blue sky thinking, we want a new modern vibe, we want, a manager that plays modern, attractive, reinventing the wheel football, and then go straight to Dyche ball? How did we get there?
Yeah, but listen, I think some of these guys are unfairly labelled as in a certain, or pigeonholed in a certain manner. Sean Dyche managed a certain way because he managed certain clubs. I mean, he was at Burnley trying to survive in the Premier League for years. He's in at Everton when they're toiling. So, I mean, he's having to work with what he's got at certain times. So, you never know. Maybe if he gets a chance to play fancy, expansive football or whatever, sexy football, he might grab it. You never really know. He's still a top manager. In terms of Thelwell, I don't get any director of football or sporting director, whatever you want to call it, who doesn't want a certain manager because they're too big a name, they're too hard to handle, or too big a profile, or too much to say. They should have been the job. I mean, so if Jose Mourinho says, I quite fancy that job, you go, oh, you know what, he's a bit high maintenance, I don't want that. That's ridiculous. It's your job to facilitate the manager. And if it's a big name, a big ego, and big demands, that's what you want. That's what you want as a manager. The manager's the biggest presence at the club. I know the structures have all changed, the modern football and all that kind of thing, and all these kind of sporting directors, but the manager is still the face of the club and the most important job in the club. So if it's a big name, big ego, I don't know, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You need to get on board with it. I mean, don't hide from it.
Oh, so, that should be encouraged, Mick.
What's that?
That should be encouraged.
Of course it should. I mean, it's
not something you should back away from.
Listen, it's a similar situation at Celtic. Can they handle Brendan Rodgers? Is he too high maintenance for Celtic? It shouldn't be. A manager demanding the best out of your club shouldn't be a problem. It should be a benefit to a club. Shouldn't be scared of it. But who knows?
Well, look, let's move it on a little bit, because there are 4 Premiership, Premier Sport Cup quarter-finals over the course of the weekend. We'll go through them. But Tam, first I want to talk to you about your column today. Excellent column, enjoyed it. You were also having a kind of a verdict on Russell Martin taking the Rangers players to Loch Lomond on Monday morning, and that was the start of their preparations for a game against your old club, Hibs, which is probably the pick of the ties this weekend. I think that's where all the intrigue is. If you're in that Hibs dressing room right now, you're rubbing your hands, you know?
Yeah, I think you are. I think you're sensing a real weakness in Rangers at the minute. Unfortunately, Hibs have not been really in the best of form themselves. They're scoring a lot of goals, but they're 10 to leak goals as well. So, but I think when you see your City rivals going over the road last week and winning comfortably, you'd really fancy your chances of going and turning Rangers over. I don't think there's going to be a full house there. I think there's going to be protests outside the game. It's going to be a real poisonous atmosphere for the Rangers players, which I think Hibs can capitalise on as well. So I think the first goal in any game is big, but I think in this game, particularly at the weekend, I think if Hibs get it, I think you'll hear a crescendo of boos similar to last Saturday at Ibrox with Hearts. So the bookies have still got Rangers' favourite odds on, and they're rarely wrong. But I see somebody posting there, Hibs have good odds at around about 3-1. So listen, I wouldn't put anyone off putting a wee fiver on Hibs at that price, but I think they can go there with confidence, but I'm still a wee bit concerned with Hibs defensively. They seem to be leaking goals. They're good going forward. So I don't see this game being 0-0 the way Rangers are playing at the minute. I see goals in the game, but you're just hoping that, I'm hoping that Hibs can go and turn Rangers over. But if they do that, I think that must be the end of the road for Russell Martin. I think he's got to win this game. If you go 9 points behind not only Celtic but Hearts and out the League Cup at this stage of the season, I don't think there's any way back for you as a Rangers manager.
No. But in terms of that thing, I know, listen, I actually think people have they've really blown the whole Russell Martin takes his guys to Loch Lomond wild water swimming. I think it's been a bit blown out of proportion. I think that Russell Martin can't do anything right now. So if he does something different, he's going to get jumped on. If he does something just the same, he's going to get jumped on. But it was bad timing. And look, we're in the media side of things. See a bit of PR. If they had somebody in there that was capable of looking after the PR. You go across to Russell and say, Russell, what was that you're going to do Monday? Loch Lomond? Maybe not, Russell. Can we have a wee word? Because that was always going to backfire, you know, and it's given people a chance to lampoon the manager just at a point. And, you know, you're kind of looking at it going, well, what next? Hot yoga classes? What? I mean, you've been there, Tam. I read in your column that, you know, you've done these team bonding, team building kind of exercises at other clubs. Is it just a timing mistake, or is it just a case it doesn't matter what he does right now, he's just going to get hammered for it?
I think you've got to read the room as a manager.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting slaughtered. Get the guys in, get them together, and get in training, get in double sessions, I mean, if the supporters read that, well, Rangers are in, they're doing double sessions, they're working on everything, the fans would go, right, we can get behind that. He's trying to make us better. You know, if you pick up the paper, the Daily Record on a Monday, and you're reading that they're going to Loch Lomond to jump in cold water, you think, what is he doing? What's going on at Rangers? You know, it's just a slap in the face for everyone, really. So I have been involved in team bonding stuff, and it usually involves a few beers, to be honest. I don't know if they had a few beers, but maybe after they went for a swim. But I think the timing is all wrong. You know, 4 or 5 games into the season, maybe during halfway through the season, you know, but you've just had a pre-season trip there. You've been away and you're coming back and you're doing this already. It just screams panic stations. It screams I'm trying everything. I don't know what I'm doing. And as you said, it's just something to hit them over the head for the Rangers support and everyone at the minute.
Mick, was he maybe laying down a challenge to the players to see who was too scared to go in the water? Because, you know, that was the other thing that came out of last weekend. Him saying his players are scared.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, Tam as a player would be able to tell better than me, right? But if I'm in that dressing room as a senior pro, right, and he goes, we're going to go jumping into the freezing cold Loch Lomond, I'd be thinking, we can't defend a set piece. Do you know what I mean? We don't have the structure of the team is all over the camp. We just get gubbed at home to Hearts, who tactically played us off the park as well. Like, I think we've got things to sort on here rather than walking up Kilmarnock Hill and jumping in the river. I mean, you're talking. I mean, things like paintball and days out and go kart. I think that's got a place because it's good crack for a start. Jumping into Loch Lomond is not good fun. in any stretch of imagination, I can't. In September, so I mean, it blows my brains. I mean, let's a Rangers team. It looks as though it's all over the camp right now on the pitch. And like you say, Tam, I mean, double sessions trying to sort it out would be a more productive way of spending your time rather than hiking it up Chronic Hill.
And that would have been a great PR spin for Rangers as well. You're right, Keith. If that gets out in the papers, the Rangers are in double sessions, day-offs cancelled.
Yeah.
The fans go, right, we're trying, you know, he's working the players hard. Aye. Yeah. It's went the complete opposite where you're going, are they doing there for a jolly? What's going on? And I don't know if he's testing players' mentality. Read a quick story. I went talking about Stephen Presler into Falkirk at Stiliyan University for pre-season. And Stephen Presler says, right, guys, we're doing 45 100-metre runs. And you've got to get in under 12 seconds. Now, that's an impossibility. You can't. It's impossible. But all he wanted to know and see was who chucked it. So see if you weren't getting in the times, he didn't care. But if you chucked it, you were out the door. And he done that. He had the boy Jack Compton who chucked it. Released him immediately. And I don't know if it's a mentality thing where he's saying who's scared to jump in the water, who's going to swim, who's going to chuck it walking up this hill. But that's the only thing that comes to my mind why you would do something like that, to test people's mentality and character.
I don't know, because I heard him after that weekend, and not only did he say he was scared, but first we have to look after them as human beings. We have to take care of their anxiety. I'm not sure that he's then decided. I don't think he's then went all hardline and said, right, which one of you hasn't got the guts to jump into Loch Lomond in the middle of it?
I think pick out a man for a corner kick that we can start.
Yeah, working out how to defend corners, etc. Right, look, I don't know where it goes from here, Tam, but I do know, and I'm going to come back to it again, that kind of reference to my players are scared. They're scared to go out onto their own pitch in front of their own fans. Again, I'm going to place you in that away dressing room this weekend at Hibs. You're loving that, are you not? I mean, Ryan Stevenson was on last night. He was like, he was saying, "Oh, you'd be booting their door on the way past the dressing room. You'd be growling at people in the tunnel." If you think that their bottle's going even before they come out for kickoff, you've got to love that as an opposition, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I think that David Gray will be ramming that home to the players before they go out. Be aggressive, get into their faces right for the start, just get a couple of slaps. Get after them, get pressing them, get the fans turned against them. And see if they fancy it. And that's going to be the team talk for Hibs and David Gray. Hibs are quite a physical team now, quite a big team.
Yeah.
I noticed that in the European games. That's the first time I've seen Hibs in a number of years thinking, by the way, they're a right big side now. So I think Hibs are a bigger, more physical side than Rangers, and I think they'll try and use that at the weekend. But yeah, you're right. Ryan Stevenson's been in dressing rooms as well. If you feel as if their dressing room are bottled it and their confidence is gone, you're going for the throat straight away, and hopefully that's what Hibs do at Ibrox.
Would you not be winding them up on the pitch as well, Tom? You would, 100%.
Absolutely. You'd be saying you're rotten, you're crap, you're bottled it. 1-0 down. The fans are shouting at you again. You're hiding. You don't want the ball. You'd be telling them everything. You'd be trying to give them all sorts. But as I said, Hibs have got to go and start the game well. I think they're the first goal in this game. If Rangers get it, I think the fans get behind them a wee bit again. If Hibs get it, I think I don't see Rangers coming back. I don't think Rangers right now have got the mentality to come back for a goal down.
No, because they go into themselves. And it's going to be interesting that there's a planned protest going on, I think around about 4:30. Now, that's pretty much when the team buses will be pulling up outside the stadium. Again, you're a Hibs player. You go off the bus and you see that outside the front door. They're harassing their own players, their own manager, their own board. I just think... Listen, I went into last weekend's game thinking I can't see Hearts coming away from Ibrox with anything less than a draw. And I know it's not going to be a draw in this game because it's a cup tie, but I've got a very strong feeling for Hibs, just the same way as I did for Hearts last week. Tam, yourself?
Yeah, no, I do. I'd fancy Hibs as well. I think I watched the game. I watched the Rangers Hearts game at the weekend, and I thought that Hearts were set up perfectly with Derek McManus. They really nullified Rangers in the wide areas. I think that's Rangers' threat, particularly Gassama down that wide area, down that left-hand side. And if Hibs can just shut that avenue off, I don't think that Rangers have got a whole heap of creativity in their team. So, listen, I think it'll be goals in the game, and I think Rangers are capable of scoring. But I would agree with you. I'd fancy Hibs to go and win this cup tie.
Mick?
It just feels like the kind of end of day stuff at Rangers under Russell Martin. It really does. What I think is interesting is how Hibs approach it. I mean, I thought the Hearts game plan, going man for man last week, worked a treat. And I think the key to it might be keeping the game pretty dull for the first 25 minutes, half an hour, because the place is going to turn. I mean, I don't think turning into a basketball match is going to help Hibs really, because I think Rangers have got players going forward that can score goals. But if they keep it tight and keep it going as long as they can, imagine you get to half time, it's nothing. It's going to be an absolute bear pit. I mean, it's going to be there's going to be major toxicity in that stadium. So it's more about how Hibs go about it. I mean, Tal will know more than myself about Hibs play. Have they got it in them to play that kind of way? I don't know.
They're looking nice and aggressive, are they not, Tam?
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't think Hibs will change 3-5-2, and they'll get the wing backs forward. They'll get crosses in the box, and they'll go long when they need to go long. So. Yeah, no, I think Hibs can only play one way. I think they are aggressive. I think they are an aggressive side. And I think they'll try and get after Hibs, Rangers early doors with the two strikers going and pressing them at the back and trying to force mistakes. So, I think Hibs will go and start and try and win the game. I don't think the Hibs are going to sit in and try and keep it tight for 20-25 minutes. I don't think it's that kind of Rangers team. I've been in Hibs teams in the past where you go to Celtic Rangers and you're absolutely thrilled to get in it 0-0 after 25 minutes. So, I don't think this Rangers team is a quality side where you go and sit in. I think you go for them right away.
Yeah, I think you're getting about them, harass them, and if they're their managers saying that the players are scared, then I think just you go hell from leather right from the start. Very similar. Hearts took a grip of that game right in the early moments of it, dominated the early moments, and Rangers just didn't have a response in them. I think it'll be a very similar sort of game plan for Hibs at the weekend. So are we all going to back a Hibs win now?
I'll go Hibs win, yeah.
Incredible to say that, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I just can't see. I can't see a situation in Rangers get out of this. I mean, it looks at the end of the day stuff. So no, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if Hibs go and get a result. Although I've not cooking up since about 2009, so I wouldn't be back on my tips.
And of course, the other kind of sideshow there, not a sideshow because it will become the main event. Andrew Cavenagh, the new Rangers owner, we expect to be at that game. We think he's flying into Glasgow tonight. So, you've got the game itself and then you've got the post-match. And I think from a Rangers fans' perspective, they're probably looking forward to the post-match more than they are the match itself.
Yeah, I think that makes a huge difference for Russell Martin, that the owner's going to be at the game. I think you can't really get a sense of it if you're in America or you're watching the TV. You can't get a sense of the poison and the vitriol going towards the manager.
Yeah.
And I think when you're sitting there and you're getting it in the neck for supporters round about you, I think that's a totally different feeling and sensation for him. So I think that if it doesn't go the way Rangers expect it to go, then I think they will pull the trigger after the game.
Right, the other games to look forward to starts tomorrow night, obviously, doesn't it, with Killie and St Mirren. I think that'll be a good game. I noticed, by the way, that Stephen Robertson had a little nibble at our columnist Chris Sutton today. Did you see that, Michael?
I did, aye. He took a wee bit of offence. What did Sutton say? So I wouldn't want to pay to watch this mob every week or something like that?
I wouldn't pay to watch this. It's just punt and run stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we love Chris, but I thought he was a bit harsh. I think someone a good side.
So they are.
Aye, and I think Kelly are decent and pretty well organised as well. They were not lucky last weekend. Obviously, a lot of draws, but I think St Mirren are pretty strong. I would fancy them to go and get a result, get to Hampden. Done a great job, Stephen Robertson. Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way St Mirren play. No,
I think they're a decent side to watch, and they don't hang about. They do get the ball forward. But, it's all with the aim of trying to hurt the opposition, and I don't mind the way they play at all.
No. Listen, there's more ways to skin a cat. I mean, Pep ball dominated football for a number of years. Then with 4-3-3 and fake strikers, and there's nothing wrong with going 4-4-2 and going back to front, getting out to the wide man, crossing it in the box. It's Scottish football. It's no La Liga. That's why guys like Stephen Robertson, Derek McManus, they know how to win games. They know how to win games in Scottish football, and that's how they've both got great records here. So no, I don't see anything wrong with the way St Mirren play.
Is he going to win this one, Tom? You backing St Mirren to get past Killie away?
Yeah, I think they'll narrowly.
On that pitch?
I think they'll maybe narrowly get by, nick by them. But Kilmarnock showed at the weekend there that they're pretty hard to beat. But I think St Mirren might just nick it 2-1.
Mick?
Yeah, I'll go on with that. I think St Mirren. I think the middle of the park. I think St Mirren are just fierce. Middle of the park. I mean, I like Kelly Phillips, the monster in there. O'Hara, obviously experienced pro in there. Bacchus coming back. I like the middle of the park. They win a lot of balls in there. They make it life tough. Guys like monsters like Gogic as well at the back. And I've got guys up top who are a handful as well. Maybe don't score that many goals, but they're awkward to play against. They're physical and all that stuff. I think they're a nightmare to play against St Mirren. So I think they'll edge it as well. I say Kelly. I was impressed with Kelly at the weekend. I don't think they deserve much for the game, but they hung in there and they were in the game right to the end. They got their goal. They're a bit unlucky with the penalty, but listen, I think they've been pretty solid all season. But it's not going to be I don't think it'll be a high scoring game. I think it'll be a narrow win for St Mirren.
I think that one could go to penalties. I just have a feel for that. I think
thankfully.
Somebody's got the nightmare Friday night shift if that's the case. Do you know what? I'll take St Mirren just to edge it, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of that one going all the way. So then on the Saturday, we've talked about Rangers and Hibs, but up at Pittodrie, there's another one, isn't there? Because if Jimmy Tillene loses that at home against Motherwell, I'm not sure how long he's got. We could have 2 managerial vacancies by Saturday night.
Yeah, I think when you look at the amount of money that Aberdeen have spent over the course of Jimmy Tillene's reign at Aberdeen, I don't think there's been an Aberdeen manager backed as much in their history in terms of finance. I think that the money they've spent. They've just signed 3 international players. Carlson, Armstrong, Nisbet. You're paying £1 million fees for players. I think he's been incredibly well backed with Dave Cormack and everyone at Aberdeen, and they will not want to see fruits of that. And I think they're still basking in the glow of the Scottish Cup win, but that can only last so long. I think 5 wins in the last 31 league games for Jimmy Tilleen.
Really bad.
That's grim. That's grim reading for a club the size of Aberdeen. So no, I agree with you. I think if Motherwell got there and turned them over, I think he's under serious pressure.
And I like Motherwell for what I've seen of them this season, Mick. I mean, they're managing to do what Russell Martin's trying to do in terms of that progressive playing out from the back, bit high risk strategy with the way they move the ball out. But they're just doing it, implementing it far better than Rangers have managed to implement it. This is what I think Russell Martin was trying to do. Motherwell are doing it. The only thing they're lacking is probably a striker.
Yeah, weirdly, Motherwell results are quite similar to Rangers results. A lot of draws in there as well. They haven't quite managed to kind of get the results that maybe I think some of them the players deserve. They have been good. Fair play to them. It's I think the punters are all on board. Motherwell. I mean, I think they're all pretty happy with what they're seeing so far. Aberdeen, let's be honest, they've stunk the place out for a long time now.
Yeah.
I mean, the talking at the Scottish Cup final was how many? I think they'd lost 19 goals in 5 games against Celtic. I think we all thought it was going to be a turkey shoot. They somehow managed to kind of, I mean, they don't want to say fluke it because they put a lot of effort and it was really organised. But let's be honest, it was a bit of a kind of freak, really.
A total change his game plan for it as well.
Yeah, completely changed his way he played it. They kind of played for penalty kicks from early on. They managed to get a goal. Listen, fair play to him. He done it. He got the cup, and it was a great do. And they'll never be forgotten. He'll never struggle for a pint in Aberdeen. But the league, I mean, like Tam mentioned, there 5 wins in 31 games. That's relegation for him. They can't score a goal. I mean, you got to think it will get better because Nisbet will get back up to speed. You get Armstrong in there. You think Carlson will be a creator. So I think they will get a chance to take. I thought they were a wee bit better against Livingston last weekend. There were signs that they were a wee bit better. Still never scored a goal.
No.
So they need to get
and that's going to be, I don't think that's going to be a great environment there either. Mark, by the way, is asking, Michael, do you need a shilling for the meter, mate?
This is my best light. Actually, boy, this is making you look looking better with the second here.
By the way, that's the sort of sight that keep you up at nights. Imagine Mick Gannon coming at you in the dark.
It's mood lighting.
Right, and then obviously end it all off Sunday afternoon, Partick Thistle v Celtic. I think that looks like a straightforward one for Celtic, as we discussed earlier, guys. And then you're looking at the prospect of Brendan Rodgers getting one step closer back to Hampden, looking at nailing down the first trophy of the season, and the prospect that Mick said earlier of potentially going for a treble this season, and then Mike drop and walk away at the end of it.
Yep, that'll be a target, I think, for Brendan. I think that'll be what he wants to do. I think he want to go out in a high at Celtic. He want to go out with stock high. Obviously, getting to the knockout stages last season in the Champions League, you know, running Bayern Munich incredibly close. Now he's not really been back to the transfer window, and I think there's less pressure on Brendan Rodgers this season than there's ever been. I think that the Celtic supporters are looking at the board and going, well, if we don't win the treble, don't win the league, well, it was the board's fault, it wasn't Brendan's fault. You know, they never backed him. So I think he's not got a free hit, so to speak, but we bit of pressure off him, I think. So yeah, I would expect Celtic to go and beat Partick Thistle comfortably, and if Hibs beat Rangers, then Celtic will be heavy odds on to win the first trophy of the season.
Yeah, Mick, the same.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I think this will give them a game, but I can't see anything but a Celtic victory, probably fairly comfortably. I can't see that.
Right, okay. The only other bit of news actually today, that just before we came on air, actually, Jim Goodwin signed a new deal at Dundee United. That's a good bit of business. They're a good fit, aren't they? The two of them.
Yeah, no, I think they are. I think that, you know, Jim is maybe in last chance saloon going to Dundee United. I think a lot of Dundee United fans were shocked that he got that job. You know, he didn't have a great time at Aberdeen, and then to walk straight into Dundee United job, there was a few eyebrows raised, but he's done a phenomenal job up there. He really has. His recruitment has been magnificent. You know, he's signing players from all over the globe. And, I watched them against Hibs at the weekend there last weekend. I thought they were really exciting going forward. I think they've got some really, really good players in the forward areas. If they tighten it up a wee bit at the back, they'll be a real danger to everyone this season. I think they're really, really strong in the forward areas. So I think he really deserves that contract, and I think they'll push up the table this season. I think they finished in the top 6 last season. I think they're more than capable of staying in it this season.
Right, brilliant, brilliant, Mick. Mick, honestly, you're unnerving me a little bit.
It's like Bohemian Rhapsody. Remember the Bohemian Rhapsody? The Hibs?
Listen, I'm going to go and get a candle here. It's
a silhouette of a man.
This part of the doesn't get a lot of power this time of night, guys.
Right. Honestly, Mick, get it sorted out. Hopefully, we'll see you on Sunday. We'll be back. That's us for Hotline Live for the week, but we'll be back on Sunday, 6 p.m. kickoff, shortly after the conclusion of Partick Thistle and Celtic game, and we'll review what does look going into this as if it's going to be a really fascinating weekend of football on the pitch and off it. So we'll be back on Sunday. Thank you for the comments. Thanks for watching. Mick, thanks for joining us from the dark. Tam, brilliant. Thank you, mate. And we'll see you all Sunday.